Ma'am, those visuals on our screens, you can be seen manhandling officials, police cops on the ground. Could you talk to us about what really happened?
You know, I was late. I didn't even go when the real action was happening because I was held up in a traffic jam. By the time I walked in, the show was over. They had arrested all the primary leaders of Congress and taken them away. So the media was questioning me and I was talking to them. When the police came and requested that, they said, "Madam, you please go back." So I said, "Okay, call my car." So my vehicle was coming towards me when suddenly I was accompanied by 5 ladies. When suddenly the police got aggressive and they started pushing, shoving, pinching, physically lifting these women and trying to throw them into police vans. And I said, "Why are you provoking the situation?"
No, but ma'am, what explains
grounds are
you
arresting me?
physically
What is it? I
holding
haven't
a
said
police
that,
official
Bhavan.
on the ground?
I'm on the
You can
road.
see those visuals which we're putting out as we continue to talk to you. What justifies that? If there was some sort of altercation, you could have spoken to the police officials.
I was, if you please look at all the videos, don't look selectively, look at the entire video length. They were pushing us from behind. I was falling. I tried to reach for the man's shoulder for balance. And unfortunately, I couldn't get his shoulder.
Unfortunately, those visuals don't look like that. And the larger issue that I'm trying to understand is, why is the routine questioning of Rahul Gandhi by the Enforcement Directorate turned into this optics on the ground for the Congress party? Where officials... One second, ma'am. I want to understand something. No, 1 second. I'm anchoring the show, so let me just ask that question to you first. Common people today are bearing the brunt. Ambulances are stuck in various parts. You have police officials being hurt as well, and those visuals on the screens where you're manhandling an official on the ground as well. The Congress essentially was saying that this was a satyagraha.
I will caution you to talk appropriately. What do you mean I was manhandling the police? You can't see the whole lot of police shoving and pushing and pinching us from behind? You didn't see me questioning the police saying, "Why are you arresting us? What is it that I've done and what section are you arresting me?" I'm asking, you haven't seen those visuals? These are convenient visuals.
I have seen all the visuals and we've put out visuals from across the country. I'm trying to understand what justifies the kind of anarchy that we're seeing across India today just because the Gandhis are being questioned?
Oh my God, you haven't seen the anarchy across the country that you're questioning me. You haven't seen the anarchy where Muslims are being terrorized. You haven't seen where women have been raped, minors are raped in the state every day in Telangana. You haven't seen that. None of that is visible.
I'm just trying to understand one thing, ma'am. This was a routine, regular questioning by the Enforcement Directorate.
I reached for the man's shoulder.
Party members from your own party were also questioned in the past.
Don't ask me questions if you don't even want to listen to my side of the story.
Go ahead.
Why are you putting me on TV?
Go ahead.
You should learn to listen. You please call for all the visuals and you will clearly see that we had turned back and we were going to get into my car. My vehicle was approaching. Suddenly the police took it into their thing that they have to hustle us. And they started arresting the women, pushing them, pinching them, scratching them, shoving them into the car where her head got injured. And I was being pushed from behind. I would have fallen on that police. Thank God I didn't, because then that would have been history.
But essentially what I'm trying to understand, ma'am, now that I've heard you is,
I didn't even see who
the basic question is, why are we even seeing these protests on the ground? Ma'am, I'm just asking you a simple question. Why are we even seeing these protests turn into the kind of visuals that we're seeing on our screens? An ambulance was stuck in Bengaluru today. In Hyderabad, a scooter was torched, a bus was vandalized.
Then you have to show yourself now, you don't need me.
I'm trying to understand why are we seeing public property being vandalized?
Either you try and listen or you don't. You're asking me a question and there's a monologue going on. You don't want to hear what I'm saying. I am asking you that I as a citizen was on the road and I was talking to the police. I was talking to the media. Why did the police come and arrest me? Why in the first place? I was only answering the media. People, your cameramen and all were there. We were talking to them peacefully. What was the provocation to come and arrest me and my ladies who were around me? What was the provocation?
Even if I take your point, then that could have also been spoken to the officials on the ground. What was the need to physically get involved with the officials on the ground? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Now again, you're coming back to this.
No,
What
because
language
that is
should I
the
speak
larger
for you to
issue, Renuka
understand?
Chowdhury. Today, why are we seeing these protests still mount? Why
Look,
are public
I was
property being
not in the-
vandalized? A public,
Hello.
a
Are
bus
you
in
willing to
Hyderabad.
listen or do you just
But you're
carry on
refusing to
talking like
answer
this
the
for
questions that
TRPs
I'm
on your
asking,
show? I
ma'am.
don't
I'm
understand.
asking, why was a scooter torched in Hyderabad? Why was
How
a
do
bus
I know? I say
vandalized?
I wasn't there.
There were people in that bus. Your workers
Arey
are
Baba,
taken
I
to
was
the
minding
streets.
my business and walking on the road when the media came and approached me and I was commenting on something and I was arrested. What the hell? How about that? How about me having some rights?
Nobody is denying the
I'm
fact that
attacking
the
the corner of
Congress
the
today has the right to protest. But at what cost? Why is the common people bearing the brunt? Why is this turned into
Because
anarchy on the streets? There's lathi
You
charge,
haven't
there's
seen
water
anarchy
cannons,
all over the country.
there's vandalism
You
of
haven't
public
seen
property.
anarchy
Why?
in UP. You haven't seen anarchy in Delhi. You haven't seen the fall of all the institutions. And suddenly you're
That
asking
is
these
very
basic
convenient. No,
questions.
ma'am. All I'm trying to understand was this was a regular summon that was given by the Enforcement Directorate. Rahul Gandhi could have just gone to the Enforcement Directorate.
He's
Why
gone.
is it?
As he said no.
Why
Has
is it
Rahul
turned
Gandhi
into
refused
this?
to go to the Enforcement Directorate? Has Rahul Gandhi said, I won't go to the Enforcement Directorate? What is the Enforcement Directorate for a Rahul Gandhi? His great-grandfather, his grandmother, his father died in service of the nation. So what is the big deal? What is an ED for him? It's nothing.
If it's nothing, then
What
he could
is
have
an
just
ED?
gone for
He's
the
not afraid of the
questioning,
ED.
got done with the questioning, and gone back. The Congress
But
on
that's
day
exactly
one
what
said
he did.
this was their
Rahul
satyagrah.
Gandhi did
Vandalism is
exactly that.
satyagrah. Please explain that to me, ma'am.
Arey Baba, you don't want to listen. You go on interrupting and cutting short and raising questions. You don't want to listen. Did Rahul Gandhi say, I won't go to ED? Did he say, I won't answer? Did he refuse to go there? What are you talking?
You wanted to make a point
Rahul Gandhi
against the
went to
agencies
ED.
being
Rahul
misused.
Gandhi answered questions. Rahul Gandhi sat there for hours, for days. What's your problem? He did it. So what are you bringing Rahul Gandhi into this for?
Because this essentially started after Rahul Gandhi was summoned by the Enforcement Directorate. Your own party workers, these are not common people. These are workers of the Congress party who've today taken to the streets, resulting in inconvenience to the common people and vandalism of public property.
The
You have a
biggest
right to protest, but right to
Yes,
protest at
yes.
what cost, ma'am?
Can I tell you something? The biggest inconvenience to this country is the BJP sitting and ruling or misruling. The biggest inconvenience is rising petrol and diesel prices. The biggest inconvenience is joblessness. The biggest inconvenience is the essential commodities prices which have gone through
So,
the roof.
ma'am, you protest
Yes,
in a
yes, I
peaceful
am
way.
telling
You take out a
these
peaceful
youth
march.
who
Why
are
turn
on
it
the
into
streets
this?
today are fighting for their rights. These youth who have come out and turned up today and are on the streets, the public doesn't consider this an inconvenience. The inconvenience is that we are being governed by a misogynist government and that today India has to hang her head in shame when international communities
Common
are condemning
citizens
us
today are
for
hanging
the
their head in
kind of
shame, saying these are
unipolar,
workers, elected
attitude
representatives
that
today
you
who
have
are
towards
manhandling officials on the ground.
Who's
How do you respond to this?
manhandling?
We are
You
staying
don't
with those
listen, I'm
visuals.
speaking in English. You want me to talk in Telugu or Hindi or Tamil or Kannada, you tell me.
Ma'am, you can keep evading the question
You
and you can
cannot
get into
accuse
name
me
calling.
of
That wouldn't
manhandling.
move
I
us
was
from the
being
main issue,
manhandled.
which is what justifies the kind of scenes that we still see. Just help me understand
I
that.
was
Why did
being
these protests
manhandled.
even
How
grow?
about listening to that? That's the trouble we have. Women don't listen to what other women have to say. I was being manhandled.
I
was being
refuse
pushed
to
from
get
behind.
caught up into
I would
this
have
name
fallen
calling.
on that
I have
top
some
if I
very
hadn't,
pertinent
reached
questions
out to
and I
balance
want
myself.
answers to that. The first question is, why would you want to physically get involved in official on the ground? If there was an altercation with you, that could have also been solved by speaking to these officials on the ground.
Really?
Do two
Really?
wrongs make a right?
Oh my God, then where were you? Why weren't you there on the ground, baby? Why are you talking to me on TV? Why weren't you on the ground for you to understand how capable we were of talking to them? I kept asking them, saying, why are you provoking a situation? Why are you arresting us? We are going back. We are sitting in my vehicle. My vehicle's coming. Why are you doing this to us? Great ones for preaching. All of you sit in air-conditioned studios on AC and sit on chairs and talk to us about what's happening on the ground. Wow, that's real justice.
I would have really appreciated if there was some sort of a rationale that was given as to why we're seeing that. Getting involved in name calling is fine, ma'am. It's my job to ask you questions, and I'll continue to do that. Unfortunately, I'll have to leave that conversation there. That was Renuka Chowdhury of the Congress there, as we continue to stay with those visuals that are continuing to come in from various parts of the country, not just a Delhi issue, as I pointed out, but in Hyderabad, protests have broken out in other areas as well. In Hyderabad specifically, where this took place, you also had, as I pointed out, a scooter being torched, a public bus also being vandalized. Fortunately, the passengers who were in that bus could be evacuated on time. But let me also introduce